Now, have you ever wondered to yourself, why is it that you feel so upset when somebody judges you? When somebody tells you that you are this and you are that, somehow you feel that you are not that character, and you are angry because of the judgment that someone else judged you with. Have you ever wondered why you felt so lousy about that? Now, I'll give you an understanding about this right now. I hate this judgment because you and I are of infinite value. We come from that infinity, from the presence within us which is infinite. But our body is not infinite. Our thoughts are not infinite. We use our body and thoughts to engage in a fight. But in truth, we are infinity. And yet, at the same time, we live in a world which is finite in nature. And this is where you get terribly wrong. Although we are of infinite value, mysteriously, we like a form of ourselves. So we create a character of ourselves. And we say that we are David, we are Joe, and all this. But in truth, we are not, right? And why do we do that? It's because we feel empty when we are infinite. Infinity doesn't have a value. And we feel empty and naked, being just presence. We want to see ourselves as something. So we create a character. We create it all in our mind. And so we thought of ourselves as this and that. We felt safe this way. We felt safe. But the interesting part of it is that we are bounded by the thoughts that we enslave ourselves with. We are no longer able to be free because we think ourselves in a specific way. And infinity in us is jealous about this. The infinity in us doesn't like the formation that we have created. And because of this, when people judge us, we feel angry. But actually, we cannot blame them for this. Do you know why? Because we ourselves judge them. We judge ourselves in a particular form because we feel safe. And so we judge others in order to enhance our form. Though this is a tragedy we are all in. There's a contradiction. A contradiction which puts us in a position where we can never be happy. The story of the Garden of Eden is a very useful illustration. Adam and Eve was free in the Garden of Eden until the day when they had the knowledge of good and evil. What is knowledge? Knowledge is thinking. The day when they started to think about themselves in a certain way, they entered into a slavery. And the children of Israel were said to be in slavery. But God desires that we should be free from this slavery. And that is why it is written, you must not make God in any form. You must not think of God in any form. Even whatever character that you want to put it to Him. And why is that? Why is that? Because when you make God into a form, you make yourself into a form as well. But you hate that formation. You are jealous of that formation. So this is the strange contradiction we are all in. In the tabernacle, God said to the children of Israel, you must take your own knife and pierce the lambskin. And why is that so? Because you must realize that the lambskin is covering your infinity. The lambskin is not you. You have created a form. You must break free from this. And that's how I struggled through my life. I noticed the enslavement of myself by the thoughts which I have. And I noticed that nobody will confirm the thoughts that I have. Nobody. Because everybody has a form which they have to substantiate it. And they cannot possibly substantiate my form. Why? Because if they substantiate my form, they would hurt their own form. They would jeopardize their own form. So nobody sincerely would actually praise another person's form. Because we would be jeopardizing our own form. So we are in a state of terrible agony, a state of contradiction. Our infinity opens a grand field of freedom, but the form in which we feel safe with restricts us into a prison. How do we break free, therefore? This is how I do it myself. I meditate. So how do I reconcile my presence living in the illusions that I am in? Well, what I do is that in my meditation, and even in my conscious meditation, I would always remember of the presence that I am. Because of my experience, I breathe myself into all the illusions that I'm around, and thus become one with the illusions. As to how you breathe into the illusion, well, you have to follow my video. Well, this is a very long process, but you have to learn how to meditate. You have to discover what it means like breathing. How do you enter the same frequency with everything around you? How do you enter into a resonance? How do you become one with everything else? So in my meditation, I'm fully aware of who I am. But who is David? Me? Yes. David is the formation that I'm used to have. Okay? So I'm not angry with David. Neither should I be angry with anybody else because they are all formations, right? But instead, what I do is this: from the presence that I am, I'll breathe into David. Yes, I'll breathe into him so that together, David and me, David and his presence become infinite and one. So in this way, I'm not caught up by the illusions. I observe the illusions. Yes, I observe the illusions. And I participate in the illusions. Using my presence, I breathed into the illusions the life of the presence. And that's how I can say very frankly that my Father and I is one.